bit of a hiding from the cops. Let's be honest, it's going to happen. But how can maybe 1,000, 2,000, even 5,000 Celtic fans that ventured over to Amsterdam, all these riots and all this is breaking out with the cops? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, were they looking for a fight? Are they like the boys down south, fucking in the 80s? Let's go for a fight. We're missing it. Giddy up.
No, well, you know how Celtic fans are. Celtic fans are there for the crack, but as soon as people or the police start to act a cunt, then the Celtic fans are not going to sit there and take it like any daft.
No,
I mean, it's
totally agree with you there, 110%. But what I'm trying to say is, I mean, even there was organised groups. You seen the police videos where a gang of 200 kids, and they were only kids in fairness. But I mean, if they're kids that are doing this, who's telling them to do this? That just doesn't fucking spring in your head and say, oh, you know what? Celtic are in town. Let's go down and start a fight. It's coming from somewhere. So is that the basic mentality that they have there? They have football hooliganism like there's no tomorrow. They basically took over from the Brits in the 80s. Is that what the gig is? Look,
they must have this. They must suffer for this disease, in particular the Ajax mob, because I mean they're banned for Feyenoord of all places. It'd be good to hear a few people for Feyenoord in the shit that they've. What did it take to get a whole fucking team banned for a place? They can't even go there. I mean, so they're fucking scum, mate. They're scum bastards. And the thing is worrying me is the police. Why would the police, like you say, use sticks and fucking karate kick people when they're ready to be arrested and kicking them when they're down on the ground?
I was watching a video today, and there was one fella there now, dressed up he was a Celtic fan in the hoops, whatever. And there was 4 cops around him, and one cop was laying in with the knee right in the guy's chest, and he was constantly, like, he must have kneed him in the chest about 4, 5, 6 times before the cell phone camera moved to somebody else. And that somebody else was just completely randomly walking down the street wearing green, and was thrown to the ground and was given a boot while he was on the ground by plainclothes cops. Like, that's just unacceptable. But you know what's going to happen? It's going to get brushed under the carpet, and we're all just going to move on like Buck and Brown's cows.
Right. Well, I'm in the process of sorting out this site called Sponsor Me, sponsoring something. I was initially doing it for the movie stuff. I was going to use that Kickstarter, but I've saw something else out there that seems to be a wee bit easier to do. And I've just got a couple of things to do, but instead of going for the big movie project, what I was thinking of just doing a wee simple small one and get myself over to the dam with a wee camera, and I've got all the sound equipment here anyway, do the shows over there and take myself to places where the Celtic Football Club are not going to go to, and do an investigation into it. An investigation at the same time as finding EBT recipients, and then I'm going to try and get an interview with the mayor. I've never done anything today because by the time I went to bed last night and I had to go up early today, so I slept all day, but God willing tomorrow I'm going to get a chance to try and get some numbers phoned over in Amsterdam and fucking see what's happening. I mean, that daft lassie I spoke to last night, I mean, she's just an on-duty copper overnight, but there's got to be somebody up the food chain better than her to speak to.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Definitely. Well, come here to me old flower. I'm going to love you. And you know what you need to do. Well, why can't I?
How's your family anyway?
Everybody's great. I just pulled into my driveway, so I need to go in and say
how are you. It's now. Off.
Well, yeah, it's 8 o'clock at night. I want to say goodbye to my kids, Oh, but I'll be back. I'll be back to you. How could I leave you, Tommy? It's just not possible, me old flower. Right. Come here, briefly, I didn't hear the show last night. Marks out of 10 for Celtic last night in the park.
5.
5?
4.
Nah, I would have given them 5. They weren't too bad at the back. Up front, they were fucking atrocious. Sammy didn't show up. Sammy didn't show up for the dance. Fucking Commons shouldn't have played. Commons should have been a substitute, in my opinion.
But you see, even if Sammy was to show up...
Too much for Stokes to do. And fair play to the boy, he tried, but he's not a number one fucking striker. And I mean, being a dub, and I want the bet. I love everything about Anthony Stokes. But he needs somebody. It's like he needs somebody. And I mean, the board missed the boat when they never got a striker in the summer. But you know what? They were quite happy. They made the Champions League. Realistically, I would say in their market plan, they never thought they were going to make the Champions League. So it's gravy. So they're more than delighted to even fucking finish last, get their money, happy days, move on to the next fucking year. Naffy pop. Europa League. Bonus.
You know what? I think you're right, because I think what they've looked at is this year they'll take the money, they'll go with the what they've got. They're only going to spend extra money, because if they can get into the Champions League next year, then in the PLC they've tided themselves over from the loss of 3 years without the Mankey Mob. And I think that's all they care about. They just tide themselves over. That's why they never spent that 20 million, because I think they've kept that in reserve. Because if we don't get into the Champions League next year, then they can say, well, here we go, we've got this excess for last year, so we're all right. So maybe they're going to splash of cash, but anyway, that's my crackpot theory, but probably not.
Well, somebody said to me, and I mean, somebody said to me is like fucking steam off a fucking cow or horse's fucking shite. The truth be known, who knows? But somebody says to me that the reason they're not spending any money is they're collecting a little pot, and they want that pot to be as big as bloody possible, because they see a way out, and they want an awful lot of money in the pot. Now, don't think that they want that money to invest in the team, i.e., they'll go to League One or they'll go wherever they're going. They say there's a business plan there that they're not going to be in the SPL or whatever it's called now. It's now down to 4 years, possibly even 3. They said once Rangers went bye-bye, the Huns said adios amigos and met their best friend Thatcher in hell. They said about 5 years they're gone up, and they want a pot of gold to invest into the team. So they don't want to go silly now. They want to make sure they go silly. But in the same breath, they've got an owner in Dermot Desmond. Okay, a partial owner, but still, he's got enough brass tacks that he can make it work. And I'm pretty sure he's probably, other people are buying up shares here, there, and everywhere. I know the fans have a lot of shares, but I'm pretty sure there's enough businessmen in and around Desmond that have enough. I mean, he's the majority shareholder. He pulled strings. But I'm saying that the business plan is, as I've been told, get as much money in as you can, spend as much as you need to, bare minimum, hold on to it. So there's a pot of gold should a door open, or when a door opens, that they're able to just throw all this cash at it, and it's not coming out of people's pockets at the start. It's not like opening a brand new business, for want of a better word. You don't have to splash a lot of cash and hope that it comes back. It's already there for you. Okay. That's what I was told. And you know what? It makes a little bit of sense. They're spending within their means. I mean, the money they got for Hooper, the money they're getting from the Champions League, the money they got for Wanyama. I mean, day-to-day business. The amount of money they get from Sky, their season seats, revenue in the stadium, etc., etc. Affords to pay for Puke, affords to pay for Beaton. I mean, they're in essence, their day-to-day business is robbing Peter to pay Paul. But all the extra revenue that's coming in is getting stashed in a little bank account, ready for whenever they may move on. And in that respect, if they don't move on, well then, fuck it. Everyone's a winner in their circles, not us as fans. In their circles. That's what I was told, and you know what? I can believe it. It is what it is.
To be sure, I hear you. That's an idea. It's a plan. I don't think they're that clever though. I just think that they're shitting it in case they don't get into Europe next season. They've kept this back. They've got 2 years Champions League and they've got a huge amount of money. But listen,
Tommy, why do you think they're shitting it? I mean,
because if they don't get into Champions League, if they don't get into Champions League, then they're looking at the revenue. Right? If any of these years when the Mankey Mob are no here, if we didn't get into the Champions League, then our revenues could fucking fall through the trap door, because what's the incentive for a lot of fans to go through. I mean, it could fucking drop off. It could seriously drop off. You could be looking at less than 30,000. But thankfully, we've got the Champions League, and we've got, you know, maybe 40,000 odd core fans still gone through for the league games. But if that drops down to 30 or whatever, that's a terrible scenario for the board to look at for too lengthy a period of time, isn't it? And maybe that's why they're keeping the money behind.
It's definitely a terrible scenario, but the bottom line is, you know, you're going to get bumps on seats. There's no, it's not a gimme. I mean, they took $100 off everybody's season seat for this season. So, I mean, they said, yeah, it was because we got the extra money in the Champions League. Well, if you're selling 40,000 season seats at $100 a pop, there's $4 million out the door.
But hold on, Deco, right? See the money for the season tickets? I think Celtic have been using extra tactics to get that money boosted up. Now, the extra tactics, well, they know the Thompsons, Thomas Cook, the travel agents. The extra tactic they used in the cup final last season, where they gave a few amount of tickets and it was a whole scramble, and everybody bought up all the corporate. So the corporate scam they did for the cup final last season, the corporate scam that they do for the Champions League packages, we don't really know how many. Is it 10 or is it 15,000 where they sell it off to Thompsons or whoever it was, you know, that with the hotel package. So they're doing a whole load of scams to get extra money, and then, well, if that Champions League, those 3 games, I mean, you talk about they get the money from UEFA and they get all the thing with the sponsorship money, but the gate receipt money now, and the 60,000 people spending, this must be a gravy ticket that is subsidising the loss maker that is the Premier League for us now, because the Premier League, maybe we were breaking even with 2 games against the Mankey Mob, and maybe that's why these bean counters have had to play jiggery-pokery, and that's why I think they never spent anything this year, because they're looking at it to say, well, if it goes tits up next year, we don't get the Champions League, and the money revenue goes south, and we can't cover up the loss for the Premier League, the loss that is there, the Premier League, they can't cover that up. They say the phrase you said, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and if they've not got the Champions League to cover that up, that's why I think they're keeping it in reserve. But we'll go with your theory, because your theory sounds a lot better.
Do you honestly think that by bringing the Mankey Mob in, and I know you're selling extra season seats and what have you, so you can be a part of the Mankey Mob game, and quite frankly, I couldn't give a fiddlers, but the bottom line is, I think, regardless to the fact that the Mankey Mob are there, or the fact that we're in the Champions League, the business model is, in my opinion, the business model is safe enough that they'll still sell enough season seats that they can make their ends meet.
I don't think it is, Deco. I don't think it is. And you add to the fact, right, you get to the end of the season, the last 3-4 games, right, you get an extra boost with people coming along to it if you get a chance to go for the title. So not only are you talking about 2 games against the Mankey Mob, you're talking about an extra 2-3 games when you're getting maybe 50, close to 60,000, where you can have the whole stadium open now. So maybe, you know, with the revenue that they are losing, that's the only reason I can think why they would sit on 20 million that they made through the fucking sales of those players and the 2 years Champions League money. I mean, everybody says 40 million. That, you know, I think they're just covering their arse for they've either had a load of debt there, they either had a load of debt, or they're just protecting themselves in case a whole load of debt comes their way.
Let's be honest. I mean, yeah, there's the board of Celtic want fucking Newco back as quickly as possible. Because Newco, but Newco, I mean, I even turned around one year when we played them 7 times in the season. I said 7 times is just too much to play them. You're diluting a product, for want of a better word. I don't want to play them even once, let alone 7 times in the season. And a few people ridiculed me. In fact, I got pelted for it, for the fact that I said I don't want to play them 7 times. In fact, I don't want to play them at all. And I got pelters. Anyway.
You better get in there before your wains give you pelters. Get in and see your family going. Clear off.
Alright, I'm going to bugger off. I'll tune back in about a half an hour, and sure, we might just continue this conversation in about
get
half
the
an
wains
hour
on.
time.
Up the
I will
game.
not get me wins on. Forget
the wins
that.
on.
Jesus, no,
They
no,
can up the
no, no, no.
conversation.